Have you ever sent a message, seen it marked as read, and then waited and waited, and nothing came back? No explanation, no argument, no goodbye, just silence. Being ignored in a relationship doesn't look dramatic from the outside. There's no shouting, no clear ending, no obvious conflict. But inside, it can feel like something heavy has settled in your chest, a quiet kind of pain that's hard to explain. And the worst part is that because nothing happened, you sometimes feel like you're not even allowed to be hurt. But you are. And today, we're going to talk about why. Being ignored hurts so much because your brain doesn't treat social rejection lightly. Research shows that emotional rejection activates the same pain centers in the brain as physical pain. In other words, your brain reacts to being ignored almost like it reacts to injury. Humans are wired for connection. For thousands of years, being excluded from your group meant danger. So when someone you care about suddenly withdraws attention, your nervous system goes into threat mode. That tight feeling in your chest, the overthinking, the urge to check your phone every 5 minutes, that's not you being dramatic. That's your survival system reacting. What makes silence especially painful is uncertainty. If someone is angry and tells you why, at least you know where you stand. But silence leaves a gap, and the human mind hates gaps, so it fills them. Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Are they talking to someone else? Am I not enough? The longer the silence continues, the louder those questions become. And slowly, the focus shifts from their behavior to your worth. That's where the real damage begins. There's often an emotional spiral that follows being ignored. First comes confusion. You tell yourself they're probably busy. Then anxiety creeps in. You start checking your phone constantly. Your heart rate increases every time it lights up. Then comes self-blame. You replay conversations in your head, analyzing every word. You wonder if you were too much, too emotional, too needy. Finally, you might overcompensate. You send another text. You apologize for something you didn't do. You try harder. And in that moment, the dynamic shifts. The more one person withdraws, the more the other chases. That's how imbalance begins. Not everyone reacts the same way to being ignored. A lot of it depends on attachment style. If you have an anxious attachment style, silence can feel catastrophic. It triggers fear of abandonment. You may feel panic rising quickly, like you're about to lose something important. If someone has an avoidant attachment style, they may use distance as a coping mechanism. Instead of communicating discomfort, they withdraw. Silence becomes easier than vulnerability. But someone with a secure attachment style approaches things differently. They notice the distance and communicate directly. Hey, I felt some space between us. Is everything okay? No games, no guessing, just clarity. It's also important to distinguish between someone being genuinely busy and someone using silence as a form of control. Life happens. People work, study, deal with stress, but consistent emotional withdrawal is different. The silent treatment can be a subtle psychological tactic. It creates insecurity and shifts power. When someone intentionally withholds communication to punish you, manipulate you, or avoid accountability, that's not healthy conflict. That's emotional control. Over time, it chips away at self-esteem. You start measuring your worth based on how quickly they respond. But here's something deeper to consider. Why does their silence shake you so much? Often, being ignored touches older wounds. Maybe growing up, attention felt inconsistent. Maybe love felt conditional. When someone pulls away now, it reactivates that early fear. It's not just about the current relationship. It's about what the silence represents. Being unseen, being unchosen, being unimportant. That's why the reaction can feel bigger than the situation itself. Another painful truth is that sometimes people ignore others because they lack emotional maturity. They don't know how to express discomfort. They avoid hard conversations. Instead of saying, "I need space," they disappear. Instead of saying, "I'm not sure about this," they go quiet. Silence becomes their escape route. But someone else's inability to communicate clearly is not proof that you are unworthy. It's evidence that they may not have the tools for healthy intimacy. Over time, repeated ignoring can change how you behave. You may start shrinking yourself. You stop expressing needs because you're afraid they'll withdraw again. You become hyper-aware of their moods. You try to be low maintenance. But love isn't supposed to require self-erasure. Healthy relationships allow room for needs, for conversations, for reassurance. If you constantly feel anxious about losing connection, the relationship may already be unstable. So what can you do if you're being ignored? First, pause before reacting. Your nervous system wants immediate relief. It wants to send another text, to fix it, to restore connection. But chasing rarely creates security. Instead, regulate yourself. Breathe. Step away from your phone. Remind yourself that someone else's silence does not define your value. Then, if the pattern continues, communicate clearly. Not aggressively, not apologetically, calmly. When you go quiet without explanation, it makes me feel anxious and disconnected. Can we talk about it? The response you receive will tell you a lot. If they respond with understanding and willingness to improve, there's space for growth. But if they dismiss your feelings or continue the pattern, you have information, and information is power. At some point, you must ask yourself a hard question. Is this connection nourishing me, or is it draining me? Love should feel safe more often than it feels confusing. Being ignored in a relationship is painful because it threatens something fundamental, the need to be seen, to be acknowledged, to matter. But here's the truth. Your worth does not rise and fall with someone's response time. You are not more valuable when your phone lights up, and you are not less valuable when it stays dark. Sometimes the most powerful response to silence is self-respect. Not dramatic confrontation, not revenge, just quiet clarity. If someone repeatedly shows you that communication is optional to them, you get to decide whether access to you is optional too. At the end of the day, healthy love communicates. It reassures. It shows up. It doesn't leave you guessing where you stand. And if you've been feeling invisible in your relationship, maybe this isn't a sign that you need to try harder. Maybe it's a sign that you deserve better clarity. If this resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. Are you being ignored occasionally or consistently? Is the silence accidental or strategic? The answers matter, because the right relationship won't make you question your importance. It will remind you of it. And remember, being ignored hurts, but staying where you feel unseen hurts even more.